All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm Blitz5, and I hope you guys are doing well. Since we are in the month of December, I want to say happy holidays to everybody out there. And in front of me, we have the patch notes for update 10.1, which is season 10, and is also bringing along a brand new map called Haven. So I'm super excited to go over all this stuff. This happened fairly quickly. We had some leaks for potential new map or new stuff that was coming into the game. Wasn't sure 100% if we were getting a new map. Then we got some trailers, a full trailer, and then they just dropped this immediately on the test server. So this launched yesterday on December 9th, and today is December 10th as I'm recording this video. So I did get to play it yesterday, and I have that in-game experience that we can kind of use going over the patch notes. And if you haven't watched any of these videos before, it's kind of become a tradition for me to do this. But these are a little bit longer. So if it's not your style video, then maybe just come back for another one. But if you want to go over the patch notes with me and listen to everything PUBG related, then this is a appropriate video for that. One more thing I want to mention before we get into this is that there's not going to be a test server for console for Xbox and PlayStation. So that's the downside. But the upside from that is that we are getting this update one day after PC for the first time ever. So very close for the console PC parity. This will be launching on the 16th for PC and on the 17th for console. So one day after, that's awesome. The downside is that we can't test this out unless you have PUBG on PC. So let's read what they have to say. Update 10.1 on the test server. And welcome to Haven, an industrial island in the Rust Belt of America. So it's funny, when I read these patch notes the morning they came out, I was rushing through them as I normally do. And I missed that this is actually set in America, but I guess it kind of makes sense. But the Rust Belt of America, obviously kind of in the Midwest where a lot of industrial stuff was going on. And then after industry moved out of America, those kind of buildings rusted out and became old, kind of relics of the past industry, which is why it's now called the Rust Belt. A lot of those things have been repurposed and are actually kind of coming back now, which is nice. Just a little history. And then here we have an image of Haven. And I'll be talking a lot about the map, but the map really had this awesome vibe. It was kind of dim lit, but not to the point where, to me, in my opinion, where it was too dark. It's got this cloudy, almost dusty vibe, I want to say. I know it's weird, but that's how it feels running around. But I didn't have any issues seeing people or really maneuvering around the map. And I'm one of those players that I usually do have issues seeing people when there's weird lighting or nighttime vacandy, and I didn't have any issues with that. I was playing on my settings pretty high on PC, so I'm not sure how that will translate over to console, but they've been doing a pretty good job with the console graphics, especially for the One X, PS4 Pro, and the new generation. So I don't think there's really going to be an issue here, but obviously you guys are going to have to play it to decide for yourself. And then here's some more information about the map Haven. So they say here, players will take each other on in the dense urban streets and rooftops, but this Haven is anything but safe. Players will be faced with a new threat during the matches, an enemy faction working against them. The faction named Pillar is heavily armed and is none too happy about you being on their turf. You'll have to avoid the Pillar Scout helicopter attempting to track and spot survivors from the sky. Those unlucky enough to be caught by its spotlight will need to move quickly to avoid the Pillar tactical truck as it closes in and attempts to quickly eliminate its target with bullets and fire. Finally, players will have to deal with the Pillar guards and commanders. These soldiers are heavily armed, but those who manage to take them down can find powerful gear in the caches they guard. Haven is a dense 1x1 urban map and supports up to 32 players at a time in duos or one-man duos. I was going to say one-man squads, it's kind of the same thing. And I do want to say here that in my previous video, I reported that you could play solos on this map, and that was an accident. I mistakenly read that online. So this is only duos and one-man duos. But I do have to say here, after playing for a whole day, I think duos is like the perfect playlist for this map and the amount of players. And if you want to go in by yourself, or you don't want to play with anybody else, you want to have that solo experience, you can definitely play fine and do well and actually get wins in this. My first win, I think an only win, was by myself for like the end portion of the game. The way that people are playing this map and the way that it sort of plays out, where you can run and gun if you want to, you can sneak and kind of hide in the shadows and maneuver in and out of the buildings. You also have the AI patrol and the attack vehicles that you can kind of use to your advantage or to help you take out enemy players or third party them. So I feel like this playstyle is really great for that kind of situation, or being by yourself. Or this could be a great way to meet other players on the battlegrounds if you go into the duo queue by yourself. And I do want to address here that some people in the stream were worried that this is just going to be kind of like a bot battlegrounds or like a training mode because there's only 32 players and it's going to be filled with bots. There's not going to be any bots in this playlist. It's all human players. So the 32 players will be humans. And then the guards and all that stuff, the bots that are included in the map, kind of holding down certain areas are going to be on top of that. So I feel like with that, there's like the perfect amount of players. When you land, it's not overly chaotic. Obviously, if you land near a lot of players or hot drop, it's going to be busy like it typically is in PUBG. But if you land on an area of the map that's not as popular, it just feels like the typical PUBG experience. But then other stuff comes into play, sort of like on Sanhok, where if you land in an empty area, it's kind of just the regular loot experience. Then you might see a loot truck, then things get exciting. It's kind of the same way with this map in an urban setting, which I thought was perfect. And then going over the districts of Haven, we have the first one here. This is the Carbon Steelworks. And this is an area in the center of the map. And we went here a couple times. This seems to be like a semi-hot drop right now. We'll see how that ends up playing out. And I do have to tell you guys, it mentions here in the little description that if you can get on the roof of these buildings, it offers you a huge vantage point, which you definitely want to take advantage of if you can. I made it up here and like almost nobody was looking at me. I had such a great sight line of all these people. And you can actually look at the helicopter to see if they're spotting out any enemy players to kind of snipe at them if you get a sniper. So this is going to be a great spot for people to take advantage of. And scrolling down, we have the coal yards and industrial zone. So coal yard says it's an industrial wasteland. Traverse material piles, climb cranes, and make sure you aren't too noticeable under the fluorescent lights. The coal yards are a sniper's paradise. And yeah, I thought that I didn't really spend too much time climbing up the cranes, but you can maneuver on top of a lot of different things and use that to your advantage and kind of make it onto weird areas of the map. So it's definitely a lot of fun to explore this map, and it's also just visually great to look at. There's a lot going on. The industrial vibe is really cool looking. And then we have the industrial zone and also the residential zone. So the residential zone is the area of the map that is the most vertical with the big apartments. This area is really cool looking. It's definitely the most unique spot in PUBG. But I'm not a huge fan of those areas like apartments on Erangel. So after landing there and just jumping off the top of the buildings with the parachute and testing it out, I spent most of my time going to the industrial zone. So if this isn't your playstyle and you want more of like a flat area or a traditional kind of PUBG layout, then you can go to the industrial zone. But I definitely recommend checking out the residential zone. They're both just really great. I just enjoyed this area a little bit more. And this kind of has the vibe of some areas on Vikendi, like Cement Factory or the coal yards or coal mine. And then scrolling down, we have the Overpass and Docks. And Docks, I think, is where PUBG Andy and I landed, and we got a ton of kills. There's a lot of action going on here, which was great. And then the Overpass is a very unique feature of this map. It's something that if you told me you're putting in a flat highway in the map, I'm like, no one's going to go here. You're just going to get sniped out or taken out. But this is situated in an area where if you take this, you actually have a lot of cover from the windows. All you have to really worry about is people on the roofs. And there's a lot of cars. And then in some areas, there's like two highways that are right next to each other. So you can kind of use the different heights to your advantage. You can hop from one highway to the other to avoid some shots. And this runs north and south on the map. And actually, it's just a great spot, a great vantage point from up high. It really seems like in kind of most situations that if you have the higher ground, you really have some great visuals. But then the way it's kind of laid out, you can kind of sneak around on the bottom and avoid those people. So it just plays out really well. And this was a much cooler feature than I thought. And you can tell that PUBG took a lot of time or put a lot of time into designing these things and making each spot viable. The only thing you have to worry about is if you're on the highway, you got to watch out for those helicopters and the kill truck, which they even mentioned here, that the scout helicopter, you got to watch out. So then scrolling down, we do have the information about Haven. It is a seasonal map only available for the duration of Season 10. So this is kind of a similar situation to Paramo, where Paramo is only around for Season 9. This is just around for this season. And I mean, this is sort of still unconfirmed what the future of these two maps will be. I would be shocked, just personal opinion here, if we never see these maps back in PUBG. But from my opinion, I know we're pretty new into this map. This is completely different experience than Paramo. To me, Paramo was a test map. It was like Karkin with grass. They were testing the dynamic features. And to me, it was a great map, but it didn't have that exciting, like new map kind of vibe to it where it was something I had never seen before. And this map, if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Haven over Paramo any day because this is a completely new experience in PUBG. It's urban, it's dark, it's got this great vibe to it. Almost has this Call of Duty vibe, but in a very PUBG way. And a completely different experience. So I hope that eventually either one of these maps or both of them kind of come back in some fashion, or that this will eventually enter into the main rotation because this map is just really, really cool. I really enjoyed this one. So far, it is in TPP and FPP, and I have to say that I think the FPP experience here is going to be much better because of the alleyways and kind of like nooks and crannies of the map. So I'm definitely going to be pushing to play this in FPP on console. For us console players, most people play in TPP, but I really feel like this will be a better experience in FPP. 32 players in each match, no normal bots in the map acting as players, so just what I mentioned before. Duos, one-man duo, match length is shorter than other maps. You earn around 70% of the BP compared to a full-length match on any other map. Yeah, it was pretty quick. I think in the match we won, it was maybe 15 minutes or something like that. I'd have to check, but it was definitely pretty quick. And then you can work towards mastery, survivor pass, and battle stat progress in Haven, but your stats aren't recorded in the career tab. So you guys know. And then here's where we get into all the AI stuff. We got pillar guards, we got the pillar supply cache, we got the scout helicopter, and the kill truck. So I'm going to kind of go through this. I'm trying to think what order we want to do this in. So let's start with the scout helicopter. So when you land, you're going to see the helicopter that's flying around. The helicopter roams the skies of Haven, detecting players hiding in open spaces. A spotlight is shown directly on detected players, and their position is relayed to the Pillar Tactical. Pillar Tactical then move out towards the highlighted players to launch their assault. Spawns only in Haven. So basically, if you land in a building and this helicopter is outside, and you move outside across the street, and it spots you, it's going to let the other Pillar AI know, and it might send over a kill truck to your location. So this attack helicopter actually isn't going to shoot you or do anything at this point in time. It looks like it's got some weapons on here, but this does not attack you. It only scouts you out and spots you out. And then for the other players, it also kind of shows where the enemies are. So if a player sees the helicopter shining on you, it knows, or shining down on the ground, it knows that there's a player over there. So this is a really cool feature in the game. And then let's go to the truck. So this will this could alert the truck to drive your way, which you don't want to see this thing in game. Definitely pretty strong. This scary piece of equipment roams around Haven and attack players on site. So this attacks very quickly. It sees you, it will stop, turn the turrets, and it will start launching shots at you, and also has like Molotovs or fire bombs that it launches, and those you really have to watch out for. So the kill truck cannot be destroyed. So if you run into one, don't try to fight it. Just run away. The big beast even shoots fire bombs to attack players hiding behind cover. So yeah, if you're in a window, this thing goes to shoot you. You move out of the window, the fire will come in, so you got to watch out because the fire will obviously spread and could take you out. But if you just ignore this thing or run away, it will drive away after a while, or even if it's shooting at you for a little bit, it will eventually drive away. So basically, you just have to hide for a little bit, and then it will move on. Spawns only in Haven. And then getting to probably the most interesting part of this, well, I guess the kill truck's pretty interesting, is the pillar guards. So let's read what PUBG has to say first. So beware of the Pillar, an enemy faction offering an entirely new gameplay element not seen in existing battlegrounds. It's very unique, I agree. Guards and commanders are distinct looking opposition which protects certain areas of the map, working as an additional factor you have to contend while fighting against other players to claim the chicken dinner. Members of the Pillar protect their respective areas and attack players on site. Guards hold basic equipment, while commanders hold top tier equipment. Once attacked, they send backup requests to scout helicopters, and the Alert to Pillar Tactical spawn only in Haven. So to give you guys an understanding of what's going on here, when you're flying into the map or even walking or running around the map, whatever, you're going to see buildings that have red flares on top or red lights on top of the buildings. These are going to signify buildings that are fortified by the Pillar Tactical. And I am being told right now that the Pillar Tactical, the buildings they are holding down, switch each map. It seems like there's kind of like a rotation because they do seem to spawn in the same buildings, over and over again. But it does rotate from, different areas. And then also there will be a blue flare that's on the ground near the entrance to the building. And in this case, the buildings are usually closed up on every single side. They only have one entrance in. So this is a very kind of risk reward that you have to take going into the building, because if you go in, take out the guards, and a team comes up, they could guard that door. And we had this happen to us. You're going to have smokes and stuff ready to leave. And this is a great opportunity to third-party players, or, there's a lot of interesting scenarios that are going to arise in this situation. So basically, there's a building, red lights on top, blue flare will signify the door, and there's going to be 3 to 4 guards inside. The guards are super easy to take out, just like a regular player, even easier. But then the commanders or the commandos are super, super strong. They're the commanders, excuse me. And they're going to have basically not like zombie level strong, but they have level 3 gear. It's going to take you more shots than a person, maybe the amount of like 2 to 3 to 4 people to shoot this thing. And you're really only going to want to go in if you have some kind of equipment. Obviously, you don't need that. But when I was playing with PUBG, Andy, we found that having a Molotov or a frag to throw both of them on the commander and then follow up with shots was the best way to take them out. So just watch out. And sometimes they do get really aggressive. Sometimes they're just sitting in the corner and they'll just shoot at you. Other times they'll rush you. And if they do, you pretty much get insta killed. So this has led to some really funny moments, but watch out. This is not as easy as you may think, just taking out some random bots. You will probably get taken out a few times trying to take this over. But if you do successfully take over the bots and the guard, you'll be granted a pillar key or a crate key, kind of like the secret key that was on Paramo. And that will give you access to this supply cache, which is basically this map's version of a loot crate or supply drop. There are no drops on this map. This is the way that you get that. And then you can get some level 3 gear and some level 3 guns. And to add to that, the DBS has been put back into the crates just for this map because the DBS is obviously super strong in close range situations. And this is something, I love this whole gameplay design, and the fact that you can do this in game is just huge. I've been saying it a lot. I don't want to ramble on too much here because it's already a long enough video. But to me, this is kind of PUBG's way of putting in sort of like a mini game into the game. And we saw this originally. I saw this with Call of Duty, allowing people to revive in the gulag, right? If you lose an enemy or a teammate, the objective became no longer winning. It became getting your teammate back to the game. When I played Call of Duty, I really enjoyed that there was something else going on in the game other than just surviving and shooting. Because sometimes in the middle of a BR game, it can be a little bit boring, right? If you're in the center circle and the circle is just closing, there's not much to do. So with this, after you get looted, you can find these areas and kind of have a mini game situation. You can stake it out and look for other players going in to third party them. If you have enough gear, you can go in yourself, try to take out the guard and then get this cash. And it kind of makes up for a middle game that could be a little bit more stagnant. And like I said, to rephrase it or to reiterate, that this is like an extra mini game inside the game of you trying to go for the chicken dinner. And this isn't your thing. You can just move along or, hide out or move to the other area of the map. But for me, this is something that I really, really enjoy doing. And I feel like there's just a lot of fun scenarios that you could do. Like I would love to pour a gas trap around this building, wait for an enemy team to approach, shoot the gas, and then, light them on fire. Something like that could provide just like hours of entertainment for me in game. And then, I don't know. I just think this was awesome. So kudos to PUBG for creating this system. And then we have the emergency parachute. This is a one-use parachute that you can use to jump off of buildings or from high terrain. And here PUBG says that the emergency parachute can be found around Haven and used to quickly descend from high places or prevent fall damage. Don't forget to deploy the parachute when making the daring rooftop escape because they won't deploy by themselves. This is a single-use item which fills the belt slot of your inventory, spawns only in Haven. So I don't know if I knew this at one point, but this is crazy. Something that you play so much PUBG, you don't even realize that when you spawn, you have a belt spot that actually is holding loot. It's kind of like your backpack and your vest hold loot for you. And I kind of forgot that the belt does as well. So this will take over that spot. But if you land and you don't have a backpack or vest and you don't have any gear, you really can't hold much stuff without the belt loop. So you're going to want to make sure to pick this up first. I was trying to pick it up and I just couldn't. Drop all your stuff, get this, and then keep looting. And what's cool is you can hold on to this as long as you want. You could have this in the end game and then make an awesome play, jump off a building, or you could just land on top of a roof, loot, and then jump off and join your teammates. And this is something to me that is kind of a no-brainer in the game for PUBG. One use, it seems very balanced, that it takes up that spot. And I would love to see this in other maps eventually, but it's great to test it out on Haven. And I don't think there's really any downside to the new parachute. It's awesome. And then we have the new Survivor Pass, which is Season 10 Breakthrough, which is very cool. There's a lot of stuff in the pass. I'm going to have to log in and make a video for you guys because this pass is awesome. It's a really great one. I thought it's really unique. And this is going to start when the update goes live. So for the 16th for PC, 17th for console. The pass ends on March 24th at 11 a.m. KST. And you have until March 31st, which will be the next maintenance time. So I really think what PUBG is doing here, I was kind of predicting this. Who knows if this is really the case, but it seems to make sense that PUBG ran a shortened season for Season 9 so that they could get the next season to line up with the next year. So this will be the first year where this season will run from basically the beginning of 2021 or really the end of 2020 all the way till the end of March. And then if they, every season will be 3 months. So then it will go from basically January to March, and then from April to June, and then from July to September, and then from October to December. I mean, who knows if that's 100% the case, but it seems like that's what PUBG is doing to follow a more traditional quarterly system, which I think would be great and more kind of consistent with all the seasons. And then it says here that kill missions will only be completed when you get a kill during the match, not just from assisting with kill credited to another player. And accumulated kills or assists achieved during a match will be reflected in the kills or assist missions. So there you go, just typical kind of Survivor Pass information. Then we have the new rank season. PUBG's pretty much got a consistent theme going on here from season to season. This will be, I think, is this the 4th rank season? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the 3rd rank season. Could be the, these are the 3rd or 4th. I'm kind of blanking right now. And then, as usual, it says players will need to complete 5 placement matches to get ranked. Scrolling down, they're making a slight adjustment to the RP. So there's been a rework to improve the player experience and reduce fatigue. The overall pace of gaining / losing RP has been greatly increased to reduce grind and based on performance compared to the player's current rank. Players should now be able to more accurately predict how many games they would need to win or lose in a row in order to reach a given rank. I don't know how that's really going to be the case. And right now, in my opinion, I feel like it is fairly easy to level up into the platinum and diamond rank. So I'm not really sure how much easier this is going to be. Once you get into master, it does become quite the grind because you really need to get first or second almost every single game or get a ton of kills not to lose XP. For example, you could get second place with a couple kills and still lose XP once you're in the master rank. So, it'll be interesting to see what exactly this amounts to because they're kind of just vaguely saying the information here. They're giving additional team kill penalties. So if you team kill, you get negative points. And now you will, this will result in a delay penalty, which is going to be frustrating for people who do this on accident. But they need to do this in order to curb people from team killing and kind of trolling their teammates, which is good. And then I know some people are going to be disappointed in this because they're expecting some serious or some more rewards for playing ranked and getting into master. But it looks like PUBG's probably already set all this stuff into motion for the next season because you got to think about it. PUBG is working on these passes, ahead of time. They probably had most of the stuff done last season. So hopefully eventually they'll make some adjustments and add some more stuff, but we're just getting the same emblems here for your player ID. Same kind of parachute. People are saying that, they keep doing black and gold. I think it's a cool color, but it is kind of similar from season to season. And then the vehicle reward for this season for getting, I think it's usually gold or diamond or higher, is going to be the Murado. So last time was the glider, which I thought was pretty cool, and I'm excited to get that one. This one is less exciting, but still cool nonetheless. And let's see if we can see what the rewards, what level you need to be. I don't think it says quite yet, but usually you have to make it into diamond for one of the rewards, and one of them is gold. And then also here, they're addressing some matchmaking changes. So they're saying that obviously they don't want to do this, but there's just so many playlists that they're making some adjustments here. So for most people that are probably watching this video, we'll go to NA. This is for PC, by the way. FPP has all of the different playlists and ranked squad. And then for TPP, it's solo and squad without duos. And then for EU, FPP and TPP have all of the different playlists. And they also have the addition of ranked solo in EU. It looks like they're getting rid of ranked solos for NA. And then now gameplay, this is something really interesting because I've been playing in FPP a little bit more, and I always joke around that you can't really see your character when you emote, and they are changing that now. You can switch to TPP mode after winning an FPP match to better celebrate your win, which is kind of hilarious. I always said that was the only advantage TPP players had over FPP, so now we don't have that. And then boost heal animation improvements to better visualize the effect of a boost. The heal icon animation speed now changes between 4 speed intervals based on your boost level. A quick reminder of the 4 boost levels and their effects. Oh yeah, so there's the different levels of boosting. So they're just reiterating this stuff. Level 1 is heal every 8 seconds. Level 2, same thing. Level 3, heal every 8 seconds and adds 2.5% character speed boost. And then level 4, every 8 seconds and adds a 5 character speed boost. Okay. Then we have the mastery medals, which are just kind of doing a UI update to the medals and making them a little bit more interesting. I don't know if this is amazing, but I got to check it out in game. I feel like for each medal, they could maybe make it individual medal for that one. For example, for hit and run, they could maybe make this a car instead of the helmet. But we'll see what they do with this. I know PUBG is just trying to make this a little bit more interesting. So they said the previous ones felt a little underwhelming and difficult to show off to other players. So we've made and revamped the mastery medals to make them feel more worthwhile to work towards and show off to your squad. Any of this stuff PUBG can do just helps, add some extra stuff to the game. Definitely want to see more stuff like that. So just some additional information here. And then now this is interesting. Didn't see this coming. You can now emote in the lobby. So players can now use emotes in the out game lobby to show off to their friends. It's available for normal lobbies and training mode, not available in ranked. And then we have kind of a controversial topic here. This is presets coming into the game. So right now, when you play the game, you just have one outfit set that you can use. And then when you load in, that's it. Presets are coming in where you can make different presets that you can select before the game and even right in the lobby before the game starts. And the issue with this, or the controversy, is that these are all locked after number 1. And I guess that would be okay, but it kind of depends, how do you unlock them? And right now you get unlockable coupons from leveling up in the pass, and you can also purchase them, and people are assuming that you're going to have to pay money for these, and they're limited time only. So the ones you get in the pass only last for 7 days, and the ones you purchase only last for 30 days. So people are saying this is crazy that you have to pay for a preset that only lasts for 30 days. I talked to some people at PUBG, and they said that they're aware of the community's frustration with this and concern, and they are, talking about it internally in PUBG. There's no information about whether this will change or not. But this is kind of a weird system. I know that in different countries, there's different kind of norms for how things work in gaming. For example, in some other countries, they're pretty used to having skins that go away after a certain amount of time. But in the US, that's not a feature that is popular or common at all. We're not really used to seeing that. And I made this analogy on stream the other day, which might help people kind of just understand what's going on here. In the US, when we order food or have a waiter, we tip them at the end. And in some other countries, you don't do that. It's not customary to tip. So I think if you use that analogy, in some countries, it's customary to have products that go away after a while. But in the US, it's not the case. But in either case, no matter where you're from, I think we can all agree that this isn't really the best business tactic. It's not really pay to win, but it's definitely a lame business tactic. And I hope that PUBG moves on from this and does something different. At the very least, I don't know if I need to personally have presets as soon as I load into the lobby, but I would like to be able to save some different outfits that I could just go back to instead of having to redo my character all the time. For example, we should have 10 presets that we could just go to in the customization tab, and then maybe just give us a few that we can alter when we get into the game. That's just my opinion, but we'll see what PUBG does with this. And obviously, PUBG does make a lot of iterations, so don't harp on this too much. Hopefully, this will change. And then scrolling down, here's some more kind of images of what it will look like to be able to change your presets. And then, as always, PUBG just has a bunch of UI and UX improvements and quality of life improvements. This is a cool one. When you hold start now, it's giving you even more information. At one point, there was no information here. And then they added the mission list, but it was just kind of in a weird system in the top right. So now you can actually see the mission list here that you'd see kind of in the menu screen. You can see your teammates, and in ranked, you're actually going to be able to see their kills and assists, which is really nice. I love all this information. That's helpful. It's just quality of life improvement. And that's all the information there. And then also, they've made some changes to Sanhok. They've changed the color palette, which I definitely like. I mean, I think this is the best example. In this one, everything seemed to be super, super green, which I don't know which one's more realistic, but I like the look of the one on the right a little bit better. And I'm happy that they did this. And then in Team Deathmatch, they have finally made custom spawn kits where you can go in and create your custom kit. And then if you don't do this, you'll just be given the default kit here. But this is something that people have been asking for, and definitely excited to see this. You can practice with different weapons in TDM, which is great. And performance hitching while players are in the starting plane has been reduced with some UI optimization. And then we have new skins that are coming to the game that you're going to have to purchase most likely. Holiday set, this random cow set, which is pretty funny if you're into that stuff. I mean, I kind of like the QBZ skin. And this level 3 helmet is great with the gold, whatever you want to call that, the gold ring. And some more skins here as well. And then a bunch of bug fixes. So definitely, typical launch patch. This is a huge patch. Most of it is taken up with Haven, but a lot of stuff here at the end. And I'm trying to, kind of recap this on the fly. I feel like we're kind of ending on a negative note with some of the changes here with the preset and then the skins, because I'm kind of hoping that PUBG will put more of these skins into the pass. This pass does have great skins, but I don't want to see every great skin just cost money all the time. I feel like you should be able to work for some of these. I do like, PUBG does deserve to make money, and part of the game is that they're going to sell skins all the time. Every game does this nowadays. PUBG's not the only one, but it would be nice to be able to earn a few of these with BP, just occasionally make one or two of them purchasable with BP or, through some kind of side mission. I think that would make sense. And hopefully PUBG can sort out all this stuff with the presets. Everything else is super excited. And if we go back to Haven and end on a strong note here, like I said, This map, I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this map. I was always been skeptical of adding in an urban map to PUBG. And I played 2 matches before I streamed, and I was immediately hooked. I went to go do some stuff and make lunch, and I was like, I got to get on and play this all day. And even right now, I'm tempted to go back and play this instead of console because of how much I like this experience. It's just hard to explain. You're gonna have to play it for yourself. But the fact that you can kind of just, I guess the best way to put this is, if personally for me and a lot of people in the stream, we really enjoy when the circle is ending in an urban setting. It's just really chaotic. You don't know what's going to happen. There's people in buildings. I know there's a lot of camping going on, but I love that kind of vibe. And when you're playing on Haven, it kind of has that vibe the entire time. You're trying to move from building to building. There's a helicopter over you. You don't know where the circle's going, what building's going to be in by the circle, when you're going to get pushed out, where people are. Definitely potential for camping, but the experience is so much fun, and there's so many areas where you can kind of hide and maneuver around, and there's tunnels underground, and there's cool little basement entry points that it's really great. There's just endless ways to maneuver around the map, and I love that it's got that chaotic feel. And if you're getting chased by the helicopter or you hear the kill truck coming towards you, it just is a really great vibe. And I think that's a good note to end on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, I know these are super long, but if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. And I'm excited for you guys to eventually get your first look at this. If you're on PC, definitely check it out. And if you're on console, we'll just have to wait another week to play this thing, but it will be worth it. So as always, thank you all for watching. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.